Greetings, it's Valerie Ling here. How you going? Hope you are well. Bringing you some clinical nuggets again from my clinical day today as I have been talking with people about reentry. So reentry at one level is something that we can talk about when we think about, hey Naomi, hey, how are you? What have you been up to? When we think about things entering the Earth's atmosphere, so space shuttles coming back in, meteorites coming back in, or meteors coming back in, and basically the process of re-entry, hitting the Earth's gravitational zone, and the different atmospheric levels and layers that an object enters, basically means that there are adjustments in speed and heat and a real test of the structural integrity of something as they re-enter. Now, in cross-cultural work, we see this happening as well when individuals who have been away from the host culture or away from their home culture coming back in from a host culture have to permeate these different levels of society and culture that they've been away from for a while. And so if they've lived in a country that they've been doing humanitarian work, for example, re-entering the consumeristic culture of coming back, re-entering the pace of life, re-entering the kinds of issues that they haven't had to deal with, really highlights for them a couple of things. One is how much they have changed and how much their world has changed. Some of the things that are confronting that they may not have thought about that are becoming very apparent, and then feeling really foreign in an environment that is supposed to be home. So those are some of the issues of re-entry. And I'd like to suggest that with the COVID experience, some things like this are going to happen to us. In fact, it probably already is happening to us. In New South Wales, Australia, where I am, as the restrictions have eased, just going back out into traffic and people has been a little bit jarring and a little bit unnerving as you start to see behavior that you wouldn't have even questioned 6 months ago as being, is that selfish? Is that safe? Am I safe? Why are we out buying all this stuff again? We've just come through a period where we actually had to bunker down, etc., etc., etc. So I want to suggest that this is something that we want to attend to. So in my work today, as part of a clinical profile of working with individuals who are burning out or have been burnt out, or just coaching people through re-entry, this has been the conversation we've been having. And I have been suggesting that we want to take a reflective, contemplative approach to this. And can I suggest that if you do this, you will be miles ahead of people who will get in, and after about 4 to 6 weeks start to feel like, it's too much, we're not coping. Here's what I suggest you do. You do a bit of a SWOT analysis. A SWOT analysis is essentially taking what you've experienced and continue to experience during this period of working from home, of physical distancing, and go through a process of thinking, what have been the strengths, right? What have been the strengths of this period? What have been the weaknesses? Because for some of us, it would have actually highlighted some cracks within ourselves, some cracks within our relationships, cracks in our work. I've had at least one person who works with me that has made significant reevaluation of the work that they do, because in the way that COVID-19 was managed, some cracks were shown in their workplace. So yeah, cracks in your relationships, in your workplace, and in the way that you've been doing things. And then what have been some of the new opportunities that you have been exposed to? What have you actually adapted, and what have you brought in, or what have been some of the new ways of doing things? I have to say that COVID-19 has introduced to me the bliss of being able to take on so many speaking engagements because I don't have to travel. My petrol bill was like so low last month. And not only that, for me, who gets horribly lost, the anxiety actually of turning up. Most of the time, I will take a train to the nearest train station and Uber my way from there, because the anxiety of getting lost, not turning up, and et cetera, really weighs heavily. So, the new opportunities, being able to actually suggest, well, how about we do part of it recorded and part of it live, has been a new way of seeing things. And then what are the threats to the opportunities? So, for example, one of the biggest threats for me right now is just going back unthinkingly to just saying yes to engagements that require me to travel here, there, and everywhere. I'm not saying that I will say no, but the threat is that I don't remember what it was like to actually have options for what it was to do speaking engagements. So we want to have an opportunity to do a SWOT analysis to prepare ourselves for re-entry, so that when we go back to our workplace, or we start to head out to the shops again, a bunch of things are becoming accessible to us again, we're a little bit more aware of our reactions, and we can slot our reactions into one of those four categories. Then it makes sense. Then we have perspective. Then we have choice, because we can ask ourselves, which of this do we want to keep? Which of this do we want to change? And which of this do we want to let go? So that's a little bit of my take on re-entry, and a SWOT analysis. And I'd love to know what you've discovered for yourself even now. Okay, bye.